OC. Viewer discretion is advised. Incoming transmission in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello guys, welcome back to Outcasted OC here with Reese for the NXT review coming at you this guys. It's an interesting week, not going to lie. I bet, a couple of ups, couple of downs, but we're going to get straight into it. If you like the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you never miss an episode of the reviews from me, Courtney or G or Ross from Monday, Friday, Saturday, every day. We're pretty much here all week with the content, guys. And we've got a great episode of the podcast tomorrow for the pop culture with me, Ross, and maybe a couple of guests. But for now, let's get straight into NXT. We don't really have anything to worry about in terms of are we going to get some big stars on the show, because we start with the former NXT champion Trick Williams, who is determined to get his NXT championship back. He is then joined in the ring by Cedric Alexander, who is saying to him, I've already given you advice, you're never going to get where you are, without my advice, you're not going to get back to the NXT championship if you don't listen to me. I've lost championships in the past, and, this is just how it goes sometimes. Didn't really realise Cedric was giving advice to Trick Williams, but okay, maybe that's what was going on in the parking lot at the end of last week. They are then joined in the ring by Ashante the Adonis, who starts giving a load of crap, really, to Trick Williams, saying, you never be able to stand up on his own. No matter how much advice you're going to be giving to him, Cedric is always just a bum. Trick Williams then goes, oh, speaking of not being able to stand up on my own, Hit Row! He starts taking the mick out of Ashante the Adonis for obviously being in Hit Row previously. Ashante does take umbrage with this, and he goes to start a fight. Cedric stands in the middle of both of them and says, listen, this isn't happening. It's not happening tonight. There's no need for a fight. Ashante says Trick Williams is number 3 in the ring right now. Trick Williams turns around and says, no, I've never been number 3 in my life. I'm always number 1. I'm always the best, and I'm going to get back to the NXT championship. Cedric Alexander then all of a sudden has a problem with Trick Williams, saying, it sounds like, after the advice that I've given you, you're still disrespecting me, so it's going to be me and you tonight. He doesn't actually say that, but we find out that Cedric and Trick are going to be having a match tonight. A fight ensues, and Ashante the Adonis is swiftly taken out of the ring. It really isn't that hard for Trick Williams to take care of Ashante, apparently. So I'm going to be talking about Ethan Page next. I'm just going to be talking about Ethan Page because let's just get it all out of the way in one segment, because Ethan Page pretty much does nothing tonight apart from moan about how it wasn't a proper 3 count last week, even though we all know it wasn't a proper 3 count because it wasn't a match. I don't know why he's so paranoid about it. So when he gets to the ring, there's a couple of people laughing at him. I think it's Tyson and Tyreek who are laughing at him about, how Aura Mensa pinned him last week. Ethan Page is like, oh, I'm really not bothered about it. He then goes into the arena, he grabs a referee and gets them to confirm that it wasn't a proper 3 count because there was no ref in the ring. He drags the referee to the ring, and the referee says, yes, you're right, officially, because it wasn't a match and because it wasn't a referee, there was no one there to count the 3. Ethan Page is happy with this decision until Aura Mensa comes in the ring and rolls up Ethan Page for a 1-2-3. Ethan Page is very annoyed about this, obviously. Aura Mensa has officially now got a pin on Ethan Page. What are we doing up to now? This is your NXT champion and you kind of just make him look stupid this week. At the end of the night, he barges into Ava Rain's office and says, I wanted to get rid of this Aura Mensa problem. I'll have a match with him, whatever. I'll even put my NXT championship on the line against him. So Ava says, yeah, okay, no worries. We'll have a contract signing next week. And then in 2 weeks' time at the Great American Bash, you will defend your NXT championship against Aura Mensa. Ethan Page seems pretty happy about that. What the hell was the point in all of these segments? I don't really understand it. I get that obviously Ethan Page is a bit of an egotistical, paranoid heel. Maybe he was a bit butthurt that Aura pinned him, but I thought we went a little bit in the other direction this week, where it just kind of came a bit tiresome, where he was constantly talking about the fact that Aura Mensa didn't get a pin on him. Like we all know, can we stop bringing it up? Thank you very much. Now, going back to near the start of the show, we get our first match. We are getting the no disqualification match between Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen. I'm not going to lie to you. Bit of a disappointing match, to be honest. Both of these two Obviously, Josh Briggs has been put in charge of Brooks, to make sure that he stays on the right path in NXT, because this is his second and last chance, because he vouched for him. Josh Briggs didn't really want to fight him, but Brooks Jensen made it so that he would, he would either fight him or there would be a problem, and he would keep causing more problems backstage for Brooks and Josh. So he agreed to it in the end last week. He drives off in the car last week with, now I'm assuming, who is Sean Spears, who interferes in this match and distracts Josh Briggs. As he gets distracted, he gets hit in the back with a chair. He gets hit all over his body with a chair. Gets hit with a DDT for the 1, 2, 3. Like I say, not really much to write home about with this match. But I will say, Josh Briggs absolutely took some unbelievable punishment in this match. You should have seen his back by the end of it. It was cut. He had welts all over it from the kendo stick shots that Brooks was giving him. Like I say, nothing really to... I'm not going to remember this match in a couple of weeks. But if it makes Brooks Jensen getting with Sean Spears official, then that's fine, because at least Brooks has been given something to do. At least, he's got something to go further in the future. Yeah, that's all I've got to say. We go backstage now to the Rascals, where they are talking to Nathan Fraser and Axiom, saying, we actually never lost those championships. It would have been cool to have a match with you guys. They agree, and the Rascals turn around and go, it's not too late. We could still have a match now. You need to find a third, because obviously Nathan and Axiom are wondering, well, is it just going to be MSK, or is it going to be the whole of the Rascals? The Rascals say, seeing as though it's the Rascals reunion tour, it's going to be all three, so find a partner. Thought this was a missed opportunity for the Rascals, because I'm not really sure why they didn't just go, yeah, let's just make it two of us so we can challenge for the NXT Tag Team Championships. Odd decision from the Rascals, to be honest with you. We end up finding out that the partner that Nathan and Axiom find is Javon Evans. So it's going to be Javon Evans, Nathan Fraser and Axiom versus all three members of the Rascals later on tonight. And let me tell you, that is a difficult match to talk about, but we will get to that in a moment. Because Axiom reveals to Nathan Fraser, once the Rascals go away, that he has been contacted to join the WWE Speed tournament in the next couple of weeks. Nathan Fraser isn't very happy about this, because for the past couple of weeks, Axiom has been saying to Nathan that he needs to stay focused. He's getting distracted, going off and doing all these ventures, going after the Heritage Cup, going into the Speed tournament. He's too distracted, and he isn't putting all of his effort into the tag team. So Nathan is now like, well, you were saying all of this stuff to me a couple of weeks ago, and now you've joined the Speed division. I mean, he's got a little bit of a point, to be honest with you. Axiom turns around and says, well, I was wrong. We was able to defend those tag team titles, and, it was absolutely fine. So I was wrong, so I don't really see a problem with me doing it. I do, you little hypocrite, but that's just me. Next, we get a match, Aura Mensa versus Ashanta the Adonis. I've not really got much to say about this match, to be honest with you. It was a solid, okay match. Ashanta the Adonis, I forgot how decent he is in the ring. He didn't really get a chance to shine while he was in Hit Row, while he was on SmackDown. He puts on a solid match here with Aura Mensa. He gets distracted. He goes out of the ring to try and chat up Jakara Jackson. This ends up costing him. Aura Mensa kind of hits like a haluva kick maneuver on Ashante for the 1, 2, 3. And yeah, that's about it, basically. Aura Mensa then gets in the ring and tells Ethan that he wants the NXT Championship. But we've already talked about that. We already know that it's going to be happening in the next 2 weeks. So we're going to have to be seeing what happens there. Next, we get a segment where just before the match happens, Ren Sinclair walks up to Charlie Dempsey with a ransom note. And the family are stood there, obviously Sonia D'Angelo, and they're laughing at him, saying, who's got you by the balls, basically. Ren Sinclair suggests that if she doesn't win this match against Carly Bright, there's going to be severe consequences for the NQCC, that she might just reveal what she saw in the parking lot a couple of weeks ago. Even though she's saying it in front of a camera. There's a lot of people watching this show, Ren. There was also a lot of people watching it, when it actually went down. You wasn't the only witness. I love NXT. I love wrestling. Let's move on to the match. Ren Sinclair versus Carly Bright. Nothing really much to say about this match in terms of what happens in the ring. I will say that what's her name? Is it like Bailey Gray or something on the outside? I can't remember her name. And it, like, whoever she is, she ends up throwing Miles Bourne. It looks very impressive. But while this is all going on, while the distraction is going on, Carly Bright is rolled up by Ren Sinclair, and Charlie Dempsey assists Ren in getting the 1-2-3, so she gets what she wants. Only time will tell to see if she actually ends up joining the No Quarter Catch crew. Later on in the night, we get information that Tavion is going to be challenging Tony D'Angelo next week for the NXT Heritage Cup, because it's the start of the Olympics and he wants to give a former Olympic star a chance to capture the gold. So we get a couple of good news from the NQCC this week. One of them is challenging for a trophy, and we're potentially getting a new member, so that'll be nice to see. Next, we get a Thea Hale segment where she's talking about how usually, you know, the Chase U would have thrown her a pep rally to get her hyped for this situation, you know, to get her hyped for the NXT Women's Championship match that she's going to be having against Roxanne Perez next week. But she's grown in the past year, that she's elevated herself. You know, she's a different wrestler, she's a different star than she was a couple of months ago. The interviewer says, you know, I've noticed that you're also a lot calmer as well. So do you think that's going to assist you in capturing the NXT Women's Championship? She acknowledges that Roxanne Perez is, you know, highly formidable, that she's unstoppable at the moment, but she, you know, there's nothing that she can do about that. All she needs to do is try her best, and she knows she will succeed. Just before this, in the locker room, Chase, you were talking about how, you know, Duke Hudson didn't let the university down last week. He put 100% of his effort in, but Obafemi just, you know, came out on top. Rich Holland walks in with new Chase U shirts that are available now on WWE.com apparently, and it's to celebrate the fact that Thea Hale is going to be capturing the NXT Women's Championship. So it's going to be interesting to see. I actually would quite like to see Thea Hale capture the Women's Championship. I'm not going to lie. I would really like to see it. Now we go to Trick Williams versus Cedric Alexander, which in my opinion, up until the main event, was match of the night. These two had a really solid match. Cedric Alexander obviously matching Trick Williams' speed, but also trying to lock in submissions, trying to slow down Trick Williams for the pinfall. Unfortunately for Cedric, it's just not meant to be. Trick Williams hits a flash knee out of absolutely nowhere for the 1-2-3, but Cedric Alexander really showing here that he has still got it. There's a reason why WWE haven't released him yet. There's a reason why they signed him in the first place, and I was just like going back and thinking about the Cruiserweight Classic from all those years ago, how much I love Cedric Alexander, how much he's just been underutilized in the WWE ever since he joined, and maybe this new run in NXT is going to show everyone why he is so good. I would quite like to see it. These two end up shaking each other's hands after the bell. So yeah, it looks like they're back on the same page, but Ashanta the Adonis is the one with the problem with Trick Williams. Next, we get a tag team match. Sol Ruka and Carmen Petrovic taking on the Metaphor. The winner of this match is trying to get an NXT, should I just say, a WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match against the Holy Union of Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Metaphor end up coming out with the victory in this. Jakara Jackson gets taken out on the outside by Sol Ruka. However, Carmen Petrovic just gets clocked right in the face with a right hand from Lash Legend, leaving herself open to a choke slam for the 1-2-3. Sol tries to get back in the ring to try and break it up, but Jakara captures a leg and she isn't able to get in there at the time. Metaphor do get on the microphone after the match, obviously, and call out the Women's Tag Team Champions, who later on accept via X, saying, you know, let's do this, basically. We now go backstage to where we see a video package from, I believe, in Joe Hendry. He's basically talking about, you know, he isn't just a flash in the pan. He's been wrestling for 15 years. Like, everyone's all of a sudden just started to pay attention to him. But, you know, he's been around for a while, basically, and he's here in NXT to stay. He's talking about how next week we're going to be getting a famous Joe Hendry concert, so I'm really looking forward to that, to be fair. Gallus see this backstage. They see one of the flyers for the concert. But while Joe Coffey is, you know, trying to challenge Joe Hendry to a match, I believe it's Mark who hands him the flyer, and he goes absolutely berserk and calls him a phony. And he, you know, no one wants to see the concert, and he just wants to wrestle him. He goes absolutely mental, to be quite honest with you. Yeah, I don't really know how else to say that, to be fair. But yeah, we can now go to the main event, guys. NXT felt really short this week, but it wasn't. It went on for the normal amount of time. We goes to the main event, and it's the Rascals versus, like I say, Javon Evans, Nathan Fraser, and Axiom. And I'm not going to lie when I say I don't really know how to call this match for you. Think about the people that are in there. You got, Zachary Wentz, Trey Miguel, Wesley, Javon Evans, Nathan Fraser, and Axiom. There is so much high flying going on in this match. I can't even describe what is happening. There is just so much to cover. They are just all over each other. They're everywhere. Like I can't even describe what I saw. It's one of the fastest matches that I've seen in a long, long time. The Rascals end up coming out on top by hitting the finishing move onto Axiom, which may play into what Nathan Fraser is trying to say to Axiom, that he's going to get distracted, just like Axiom was saying to Nathan a couple of weeks ago. They all get in the ring and they all, they all shake hands and everything. I'm assuming this is going to mean that there's going to be an NXT Tag Team Championship match in the future for MSK. I think MSK is probably going to be taking those Tag Team Championships off of Nathan Fraser and Axiom in the very near future. I don't know if it's going to be at the American Bash or, later on at a SummerSlam, but yeah, I think it's probably going to happen. I think it's about time that Nathan and Axiom lost those Tag Team Championships. They've not really done anything with them apart from have some decent matches over since Stand and Deliver when they beat Braun and Baron for them. But yeah, they're just they're not a real tag team in my opinion. They're just two guys that are together that happen to have decent chemistry. I don't see them as a tag team. I would rather see a true tag team like MSK maybe holding those tag team belts. But let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Like I say, I do apologize for not really being able to say anything about the main event. It isn't really a bad thing that I've got nothing to say. It's that too much was happening all at once. This is one of the fastest matches, like I've said, I've seen in a long, long time. Javon Evans, for me, was the highlight of this match. He was able to keep up with MSK and the Rascals as a whole, hitting his cutters, being able to take down all of these guys at such a young age. He looks so comfortable in that ring. But like I say, let me know what you think in the comments. Did you enjoy NXT this week? Did you think it was a bit of a meh episode like me? I thought it was a little bit of a filler episode until the Great American Bash starts next week. Guys, you can follow us on Twitter, X, or whatever you want to call it, Instagram and TikTok at Outcasted OC, where clips are going to be posted there. Make sure you go check out Courtney's review of Monday Night Raw from yesterday. It was an interesting episode, and her thoughts are always welcome. Make sure you stay tuned tomorrow for the pop culture episode of the podcast with me and Ross, and maybe some guests. We're going to be talking about things like the Acolyte and the Boys, etc. It's going to be great to talk about that because them shows have just wrapped up, and it's going to be interesting to see where those go. And then stay tuned for Saturday morning, where you're going to be getting a SmackDown review from G or Ross. But for now, guys, you have an absolutely amazing rest of your week. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.